Name is Yatta. I'm 29 and I'm currently a dispatcher at Spectrum.
Okay. So we're gonna start off with a little quick fire match section. When I say a word, just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind when you say it.
Okay.
All right. When you hear Black girl, what comes to mind?
What comes to mind is just a picture of a little Black girl that's all on her own.
Light-skinned girl.
Light-skinned girl. What comes to mind is somebody who's fiery, kind of more mature, I guess, and they're a lot more assertive.
Red bone.
When I hear red bone, that makes me think of the hood, possibly like the west end of any community. It's more so like a term, I guess, that guys use to kind of put us in a box, put women in a box.
What about nappy hair?
Nappy hair. I feel like that is a term that white people made up for our curly hair because they could not define or understand it.
So as a light-skinned woman, what was it like growing up?
Growing up light-skinned, I would say it was more about trying to figure out where I fit in outside of just my home family life. When I started going to school, pre-K, I really got the notion quickly that I had to figure out where I belong. I could not just exist in this world. I had to really exist in a certain box, and the box that I got put in was more so, are you mixed? I got that question a lot, was if I had a white father or a white mother at home. And it's really shocking because I'm not mixed, but a lot of people would expect me to say yes. And it makes me feel like that I have to choose. You know, I have to either choose with being on the mixed side. I cannot just be Black because I'm light-skinned, because a lot of times when most people think of Black, they think of skin tone and they think of darker skin tone. So when they see a lighter skin tone, they automatically assume, well, you must be of mixed race, when that's not always the case. So I felt like I really had to try to figure out how to maneuver in the Black community and also outside of the Black community, where I would be expected to be a certain way because I was presumed to be mixed and I have a white mother or father at home.
So as you were growing up, what were you taught about your identity as a person of color?
Honestly, I was not taught anything about my identity as a person of color, and I had to figure everything out on my own. And I really wish that I was taught more about myself and my identity and, just the Black community, because trying to figure all that out on your own, you can go through a lot of experiences where you're trying to figure out where you belong. And sometimes you get burned a lot because you're trying to figure out, like I said, where you belong. So you're trying to fit in with this group of people and fit in with that group of people. And if they don't necessarily receive your energy or really like what you're bringing to the table, then you're the outcast. So growing up, I was just an outcast a lot. I spent a lot of time alone.
Okay. So can you tell me about any negative experience you had because of your complexion?
Negative experiences I've had, I would say what stands out to me is just being in school, and a lot of times people would ask to play in my hair. And this is where the internal battle kind of started with me, because I didn't want people to play in my hair, but because people thought that I had good hair because it was a finer texture hair and it was longer, then a lot of people, I'll say a lot of dark-skinned girls always wanted to play in my hair because it was just something that I guess I felt like a prop a lot, and not really, like I really didn't belong. I wasn't a part of them. And to me, that was the only way that I could belong. But to them, I still did not belong because I was just something that they could try to get their hands on to try to change and just to play with.
So as you were growing up, I'm sure, you were shaped by your experiences, and you had to develop relationships with certain people. Being as, that you were lighter skin, fair skin, how were your relationships defined? Was it because of your skin color, or, was it other social constructs that shaped your relationships?
It was definitely other social constructs that shaped my relationships. I would say more so my body shape, being a smaller figure, athletic figure. My friendships would more so develop naturally with people that were a lot bigger than me. Maybe society would call them thick girls, they would be. And then I feel like because of that concept, they would feel like they would always have to protect me. And this is just words from my best friend. She's really built, and she always felt like because I was the outcast and I always stayed by myself and a lot of people picked on me, that she would want to kind of like protect me from a lot of things. So a lot of my friendships are with people who are, I guess, bigger than me. Yeah.
How would you personally define colorism?
Mm-hmm. Personally, I feel like that it is something that we use in the Black community to kind of separate ourselves, to kind of feel like one person is dominant over the other person, and it kind of really separates a lot of people. And I feel like that a lot of people don't know that they're actively, I guess, defining colorism just by when they exclude someone because of their skin tone, or when they think that they're better than somebody else because of their skin tone.
Have there been any advantages or positive experiences that you've experienced because of your skin tone?
Honestly, no. I feel like when it comes to my skin tone, everything has been so, I feel like a target a lot of times, because there's this whole light skin versus dark skin thing that continues to just go around. So, looking in and seeing this response from people, it kind of, like I said, made me withdraw into myself and feel like I don't belong because I necessarily do not think that way. And I feel like I don't want to be associated with people who have that type of mindset, who look at one skin tone is better than the next skin tone. So it's really all just been kind of like self-reflection for the most. And I really haven't used my skin tone like to my advantage, or felt like because I'm lighter skinned, then I should be able to exist in this space without a problem. Certain white spaces, specifically.
Do you feel that the current climate of our culture fuels colorism? And do you think that do you think colorism will be changed in the next 10 years?
Well, as long as the media continues to be whitewashed, I really do not feel like that it will change, because when you think about it, the media, it thrives off of confrontation, and that is one of like a big debate that really goes on in the Black community, is the whole colorism thing, and is a lighter tone really better than a darker tone? And I feel like the Black community, the Black community is definitely changing, because we're embracing all skin tones now. And for so long, people thought that darker skin tones were just this negative stigma, this negative stigma just put on darker skin tones, when now the movement is Black is beautiful. Specifically, darker skin tones are beautiful, not just light skin tones. So now in 2019, darker skin tones are really shining, and that's really, I'm really happy to see that. Like, it's really eye-opening for me, because in the same sense that I really haven't had any positive experiences being a lighter skin tone, that gives me a positive outlook, because I show that I do have my place in the world regardless of my skin tone, just by seeing that whole movement happen.
What do you wish would change for the next generation?
For the next generation, I really just want to push the message that color does not define you. Just like what I'm shaped like, what I look like, it does not define me. We really just have to get to know one another and figure out what tools that we can use within each other to move ourselves forward.